Madam Speaker, this is why I said all things being equal, we'll start in 2025 because we also realize that problem. It was actually a big problem. I don't even know why we had to do that. Because in the first place, I think it was imposed. Some people did research and said that teach in local languages. All right? But here is a child, for example, here is a child who comes from a home where they speak Bemba, and then because they are in Lusaka, they go and learn Nyanja. So you confuse children that way. So this is why we're saying they'll be switching. If a concept is a little bit difficult, they'll say it in the local language. But otherwise, I think that I personally, who is a psycholinguistics, I never favored this. Even here on the floor of the House, I even said it sometime. I said, this is confusing children. All right? Because even at college, those teachers are taught in English. So there's no particular thing that this is a language like this is a Zambian language, this is what. So maybe they generically just teach that. But the medium of instruction must always be English. In any case, the characters that we use are English. We don't have, for example, a Tonga character. If I say, you write Batata, you use Batata using English characters. So we don't have those characters. The Chinese have got their own characters. So they can manage to teach in their language. Who else? The Japanese have got characters. So they can manage to do that. So this is why we're trying to shift this so that we actually take care of what we have actually just said. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Luena.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, you have made reference to the new curriculum that all things being equal, your ministry is hoping to roll out beginning 2025. I would like to find out whether this new curriculum is being preceded by a review of the curriculum in teacher training colleges and the related institutions. Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Education.
What will form the review of a curriculum is what we have put on lower levels. And this is why we'll do a first out approach. We'll start with grade 1, 2, 3, and 4, I think. And then, for grade 1, grade 4, 1. And then it will inform that right now, as I'm speaking, we are trying to do the syllabus being tested now in many of these schools. So I think by November, we might be closing up on the syllabus. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Lundazi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It is worrying as a former educator. It's so worrying that we keep on changing and our pupils are always getting affected when curriculums are being changed just like that. Honorable Minister, the question asked by the Chimwemwe MP brings a bit of a concern. Maybe you may also be concerned as an educator. The issue of changing this syllabus now is new breakthrough to literacy. Books have been printed in Nyanja, books have been printed in Bemba, books have been printed in Kaonde to make sure that our children are breaking through from local languages into English. Now they have to go back to printing new books where they will now be in English and in some situations teaching in the local language where they have a problem. Honorable Minister, do you have resources at your exposure now to come up with new books again, which they are going to use for the new curriculum? I submit.
The Honorable Minister of Education.
Madam Speaker, we have got no option. We have to look for money. Education generally is expensive. It's an expensive venture, whether we like it or not. So we got to find the money in order to put into this. I'm not interested in telling people somebody is not going to be an entomologist. Can you label the parts of the grasshopper? Where will they take the civil engineers? So we need to put our heads together, all of us. Because if we start saying, you change, then you change. This curriculum was once reviewed a long time ago. It is usually after 10 years that you review a curriculum and see, check, is it working? So now we are in a different age. We cannot continue teaching the same things that we were teaching the children. This is why we are now, maybe I needed to give, without making myself having so many, so that we understand, if you checked what cabinet approved, they will tell you how we are going to run on this, okay? We are reducing early childhood education from 4 to 3 years, reducing the duration of primary education from 7 to 6 years, and then increasing the duration of secondary education from 5 to Form 6. What it means is that it paves the way for advanced levels to be done at education at secondary school stage, and reducing the duration of courses from 4 to 3 years in university. So we have done a two-path path, career, academic and non-academic. A child will choose, and depending on what they get, they'll do all levels first of all. We are doing this because, Madam Speaker, the degrees not this time around, the degrees at any university in here who do not have A levels first. If you go to England, they will not accept you to do a master's. They will tell you that this is an advanced diploma, so do another year in order for you to go to do a master's degree. So we want for ourselves to quickly deal with this issue, because it becomes difficult in the latter years. So this is why we're changing all these things. But these things, indeed, you are right, they are expensive. But things you say, if you don't want education, which is expensive, try ignorance. And you see our people, okay, now we've gotten more than 2 million children in school after free education. What it tells you, Madam Speaker, is that 2 million children were loitering. They are not in school. And the 2 million, those are human beings I'm talking about. They are not guavas or sweet potatoes. So you can imagine in the next 20 years, where were these children going to be? It was going to be a menace. And it also tells you that if you extrapolate, there are now 6 million children in school. In the next 10 years, there will be 10 million children in school. It tells you that this country, which has a population of 20 million, half of the children will be in school. Meaning that half this country will be in school. It tells you that this country is a young country. So we want to deal with this generation which is coming in future. Thank you.
Thank you. The last member, the Honorable Member for Chiengi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, the curriculum has changed, and I think in the interest of the public, I think it would be better, Madam Speaker, that the curriculum is brought to this House. We scrutinize that kind of curriculum. Madam Speaker, I want to find out from the Minister what will be happening to the young ones that would not make it to go to grade 8, because they are very young, others are even 10 years, others are 11. I want to find out how they're going to do that after the introduction of this new curriculum. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Education.
Madam Speaker, on the first issue which she said people should have seen, we were advertising. We were advertising. Even when it came out, we advertised. I think one of your committee meeting went to go when they were publicizing it. I think the committee went there. I think it's a committee on education. So there was a few. The only thing that I can appeal for ourselves as Zambia, the culture of reading finished a long time ago. People are not interested in reading. So let's try and read, and we shall see for ourselves how the curriculum is being rolled out. Now, because even now, we have a cut-off point. Remember, we moved the lesson where they were saying that at grade 7 we just go, all of you haven't even passed. We removed it. And if they are still young, we tell them, say that you go, you repeat. One thing that used to they went and failed in grade 9. So the rate is 100% at grade 7. Then when it reaches grade 9, the rate of passing is 28 or 30 or 40. So it means that you are just taking children who could not proceed. So at every level, wherever you have a percentage which remains behind, if they are still young, they can still repeat because we have so many primary schools and we are increasing those primary schools. Thank you, Madam.
Kwacha.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The people of Kwacha have the pleasure to ask questions 63.
The Honorable Minister of Logistics, the Acting Minister.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Honourable Member for Honourable Mlenga is asking the Minister of Transport and Logistics the following two questions. A, whether government has any plans to lift the ban on night driving for public service buses. If so, when the plans will be implemented. And second question, B, is if there are no such plans, why? The response is as follows. Government is considering the proposal to lift the night ban, and to this effect, a technical committee was constituted by the Minister of Transport and Logistics to review the implementation of statutory instrument number 76 of 2016. The preliminary results of the review indicate that most passenger public service operators are still not ready to operate in the night, as they have not implemented fleet safety management policies in their workplaces, which is critical for consideration to lift the night ban. And B, lifting of the night ban for passenger public service operators is dependent on the following measures. 1, installation of real-time vehicle monitoring system, such as global positioning system, that's GPS, which supports regulation of travel speed, among other safety aspects. 2, use more than one driver for long-distance routes. 3, full implementation of fleet safety management policy, which was launched by the Ministry of Transport and Logistics on 8th March 2024. And the answer to C, as stated above, consideration to lift the night ban are underway, subject to operators meeting the fleet safety management policy requirements. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Supplementary questions. The Honourable Member for Kwacha.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Honourable Minister, for your response. Now, Honourable Minister, for this country to develop and secure a buoyant economic transformation, we need to open trade 24/7, just like in most parts of SADC and the southern part of this continent. Of course, the accident that occurred that necessitated this ban is regrettable, but we need to move on as a country in order to strengthen our economy. Now, in your statement, Honourable Minister, you have said lifting of the ban is subject to certain conditions. Are you, as a government, preparing to inform the public of those measures so that they can start preparing themselves so that we get back to 24/7 on the road? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Acting Minister of Transport and Logistics.
Madam Speaker, I thank the Honourable Member for that follow-up question, and it gives me an opportunity to elaborate on the answers given. His specific questions is, are we prepared to inform the public about what conditions need to be satisfied in order for this ban to be lifted? Government is prepared to do even more. In fact, it's doing more. In fact, government has given the public service vehicle operators for both passenger and the freight cargo 6-month grace period to implement fleet management guidelines, which were launched, as I said, on 8th March 2024. So not only was this launched, but all the operators in this category were given 6 months within which they can comply. The Honourable Member makes reference to 24-hour economy, and he is right to do so. And as a government policy, we want to move towards a 24-hour economy. The President is very specific on that. So in terms of conveyance of people, it's a question of balancing that against the safety requirements. And to correct him, it was not one accident that caused the consideration of lifting, of banning nighttime driving. I think it was several. And but you see, the ministry has not sat idle. They have come up with the conditions that need to be met, including a GPS, which will make regulation of speed possible, that they will be able to detect at what speeds these drivers are moving. The number of road traffic accidents and fatalities recorded with respect to night driving among PSV drivers has greatly reduced compared to the period before the ban, owing to dilapidated road transport infrastructure and the driver fatigue. This is the case for both PSV drivers, for both passenger and freight cargo, which positive result is attributed to, among other factors, a reduction in the level of traffic volumes at night. Obviously, if there are less vehicles at night, like buses, you will record a reduction in accidents. And we have a report that shows the statistics. And both domestic and international freight operators that meet, and this is important, even at now, Honourable Member, for both domestic and international freight operators that meet fleet management guidelines are eligible for exemption under statutory instrument number 78 of 2017. So not only have we given these people 6 months within which to qualify, but anybody who is able to qualify, the GPS, the fleet management guidelines, those are exempt and they're able to operate 24 hours. There are such freight operators that have met the requirements have been granted exemption to operate 24-hour a day. So this is something that is being considered by the ministry, and with a view to getting everybody to comply so that they can all operate 24 hours a day. And hopefully that will continue to show a downward trend in the number of accidents, especially on buses. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
I'll get the last two, the Honourable Member for Chiengi and the Honourable Member for Solwezi East. The Honourable Member for Chiengi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I just wanted to ask the Minister why they would want to to lift the ban. Madam Speaker, we've seen a lot of fatal accidents with the buses. And looking at the kind of roads that we have, I heard one of the members here saying, like other countries, in China, once it's 2 a.m., the buses don't move or trucks. And it's a developed country. So why do we want to lift this ban when we don't have enough infrastructure? Moreover, Madam Speaker, not even road furniture, pardon me. So I want to find out, why would the government want to lift the ban? Because we've been losing a lot of lives in our country. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Acting Minister of Transport and Logistics.
Thank you, Honourable Member for Chiengi. You can see now that is the opposite view to what has been expressed by the originator of the question, who wants 24-hour economy, and the Honourable Member of Parliament for Chiengi wants a higher consideration for accident prevention. So government has to balance these two, and they come up with a policy or status that satisfies both. We are able to operate a 24-hour economy, but in a safe manner. What are these conditions that we are asking drivers or operators to satisfy? The first one is obviously overall this fleet management policy that we have put in place. That this is a serious business, it affects people's lives, safety, so people have to comply, those who are in that line of business. Nighttime driving, what are the causes of accidents as we have analyzed? One of them is fatigue. Drivers get fatigued, especially those on long distance journeys, and that's why it's compulsory within these guidelines that they have 2 drivers, so that they work in shifts, if you like. One rests and the other one drives. Number 2, we have issues with speed. And these days it is possible to put in GPS that allows you, the operator, or the management of this fleet, whatever you have, to monitor what the drivers are doing, what speeds they're driving at, where they have stopped, how long they have stopped, and so on and so forth. That induces in a sense of discipline that ensures that the regulations are able to be met. So if you look at these conditions, it's possible to have buses drive at night but in a safe manner, especially at controlled speeds and where you are mitigating the effects of fatigue. So if these are done, and I can assure you, the ones that have been allowed to operate because they meet these conditions, we find that the incidence of accidents have been greatly reduced. So if these are done, then you find that we assure the safety of the people that make use of this transport. At the same time, we drive the economy. Because there are people who drive to Nakonde, they want to be able to transact and come back. People who drive to other provincial headquarters, and indeed to outside the country. So I hear the point you are making about countries like China and so on. But I think that we can achieve both by ensuring that we implement this fleet management policy. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Solwezi East.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Minister, not too long ago, in December last year, 2023, the President actually expressed the need or advocated for the 24-hour economy to boost productivity and job creation, and stated that Zambia needed to learn from other countries that have implemented that. And not too long ago, members of Parliament were in Livingstone with the Bank of Zambia, and they emphasized actually the need for this 24-hour economy in order to boost productivity as a nation and revenue for the nation. Why has it taken so long? From last year, December, and we are almost approaching December, just to come up with policies that are able to support the president's desire. Why has it taken so long? And yet we need productivity of this nation and we need job creation. You have talked about the technical committee and so on. Why is it taking so long when we need to go this direction to grow the economy? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Acting Minister of Transport and Logistics.
Thank you, Honourable Member for Solwezi East, Honourable Dr. Katakwe. His question is, why has it taken so long to come up with policies? We have not taken long to come up with policies to comply with presidential directives. These policies are there. You know, what I have here are indications of the policies. They are very aligned so that the policy is fully implemented. You
Honorable Chala, Member of Parliament for Chipiri constituency, has asked the Honorable Minister of Green Economy and Environment for the following question. 3 questions. A, whether the government has any plans to lift the ban on trade in Mukula timber. B, if so, when the plans will be implemented, and when the plans will be implemented, and C, if there are no such plans, why? Madam Speaker, the answer to question A is